Yeah, I mean, obviously, a very big swing game there, and I think obviously going into a hostile environment, um, it should be a lot of fun. But I think the main thing, every game's a must-win game in the playoffs. Anytime you can um, play the least amount of games as possible, save the bullpen, etc. It goes a long way. So every we treat every game as a must-win, but obviously going to their place, we'll be ready to play, and it should be a fun environment. So we'll be looking out to come out, right out the gates and come out away with a win.
And can you take us through how Aaron told you about you getting the game three start and what you thought about it?
Um, yeah, I mean,
Your
obviously,
reaction to it.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Obviously, very excited. I think there was some conversation earlier the week before the series started, saying, "Hey, you possibly could start game three if you don't get used in these certain situations in game one." And those situations didn't arise, so it was kind of after the next day we came into the field on that off day, and it was like one of those things where it was like, "Hey, we're gonna go with you on game three." So very honored, very excited. It's a great opportunity. But trying to win a ball game. So, really focused and really in control of my emotions, not trying to get too high on it, and just go out there and do my job.
Thank you.
Barry Phillips.
Hey, Clark, thanks for taking the time today. Back in August, I believe you said, as you're going through the injury and rehab, I want to start playoff games. Just how much was this possibility on your mind throughout, the injury and the rehab and all that? And just, what does it mean to you to be getting the
Yeah.
ball?
Yeah, I mean, this is every kid's dream to be able to start a playoff game for the New York Yankees, and to be able to have this opportunity is something that I don't take lightly. And like I said, very honored to be able to have this opportunity. And um, I think obviously in August when we were going through the injury, I said I wanted to start playoff games, and this is something that you kind of when you're working out in the off season and you're putting in all those extra hours, and you're very disciplined in what you do, and you go the extra mile on things, like you have this in the back of your mind of like opportunities like this. So very much looking forward to it, and kind of trying to seize the moment, and just want to win a ball game. Really, I think that's what it comes down to.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Ryan Hope.
Hey, Clark, just watching the first two games of the series, what have you taken away from this Kansas City lineup? What kind of challenge they present for you?
Yeah, I mean they've obviously swung the bats really well so far the first two games. I think this isn't an offense that you can underestimate in any matter. I think they're very gritty. They have guys who can slug the ball. They have guys who put the ball in play, and they run bases really well. They do the small things really well, and they don't strike out a lot, which kind of plays really well in a playoff format. I believe. I think when you don't have a lot of swing and miss, and you're able to move guys over and do the small things right, I think it can really you know bode well in situations like this. So obviously it's obviously a tall task and a challenge, but nothing that I don't welcome, and the rest of this pitching staff doesn't welcome. I think everybody from top to bottom on our staff, we're ready for this moment, and we're looking forward to it. And I think obviously a challenge, but definitely welcoming it.
Ryan Dunleavy.
Hey, Clark, I was wondering if you could reflect for us on your last postseason experience, how much more comfortable you are here being a starter than I think you were forced into like a walk-off situation in Cleveland and then middle relief against Houston. How much more comfortable you are and how much of a different, better pitcher you are than you were then.
Yeah, I think I mean, I feel like a different player, a different person than who I was back then. I think obviously you don't really know what to expect when you're going into your first playoff, and then I was in some situations where obviously I wasn't typically used to it when I was getting brought up, and it was kind of like a perfect storm of just I wouldn't say not ready for the moment, but just kind of like things that kind of caught you off guard. And so I think now I just feel very comfortable with myself and who I am as a pitcher. And I think what I'm trying to do to guys and how I'm trying to get guys out, I'm a lot more comfortable with, and kind of starting to find, I found my identity a little bit as a pitcher. And I think, these playoff situations, if you kind of let the emotions and the energy get, overwhelm you and become too much, I think it can kind of throw you off your game. So for me now, I feel just very calm and very, very confident in what I'm trying to do out there. And I think it should show. And I think it's showed throughout the year. And I'm just kind of trying to treat it like another game throughout the season. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of energy in the crowd and the two teams. I think you just got to have the ability to try to control the energy as much as you can and try to remain yourself and be calm.
And how tough an at bat is Yuli Gurriel? I know he gave Garrett a 11 pitch one, and I know you faced him in that Houston game.
Yeah, I mean, just when I think of another credit to their lineup is they have a lot of veteran presence and their veterans are really, really good. So, Salvi, Yuli, like those two guys, they're very smart and they think along with you. Tommy Pham, like those guys, when you face them, they know what you did to get them out in previous ABs and they know what you're trying to do. So, there's a little bit of a game within a game when you're facing those guys. So, it's a little bit like chess. I think, when you're facing Gurriel, like, he's been in these situations so many times before in his career that he's really good at being able to think along with you. So I think obviously it's a challenge and it's going to be a fun one and something I'm looking forward to. Obviously he got me in the first one, so definitely looking forward to facing him again.
Thank you, Clarke.
Eric Boland.
Clarke, Andy Pettitte said some very complimentary things about you yesterday. He said he's been a big fan of yours since first seeing you in the minors, and says you've developed some of the best breaking stuff now in all of the big leagues. Can you just talk a little bit about meeting Andy and just sort of what you've gotten from some of your conversations with him?
Yeah, I think I can't speak highly enough of Andy and what he's been able to, the knowledge he's kind of bestowed on me and all the advice he's given me. And, we've kind of formed a really good relationship over the years. And, he's helped me immensely, as far as like mentality, pitch selection, how you're trying to get guys out, sequencing. There's so many things, like it's kind of like goes back to the game within the game that he's obviously been in those situations so many times and playoff atmospheres and he kind of had that pitch package where it was like, he tried to get you out in a million different ways. It wasn't like he was just trying to outstuff you the whole time. So somebody you can really learn from. And obviously one of my idols, growing up, I think everybody knows that kind of, that look he had when playoffs were on, and somebody, who turned it on when it mattered most. And so I kind of want to have that same type of legacy. And I think that what better person to learn from than him. And I've probably watched all of his playoff starts, over the course of the season, just going back and just in my downtime, I'll spend a lot of time and just watching playoff starts of his. And so really thankful to have him as a mentor for myself.
Bob Clappish.
Hi, Clarke. Thanks for taking the time for us today. You were just speaking about the strengths of the Royals lineup, but still, has it been a surprise to you that they've been able to knock out both Cole and Rodon early? I'm sure you couldn't have foreseen that.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some questions as well. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think playoffs are unpredictable. I think anything can happen. I think we see that throughout all the series that are going on right now. I think things happen that are, kind of unforeseen. I think it's just a matter of like, they have the ability to kind of grind out ABs. They don't, like I said, they don't swing and miss a lot. They don't, so they can run your pitch count up quick, and then they can piece together some runs really quick. And then obviously they have guys who can slug. So when you have that like top to bottom, I think, and they're very hungry too, as you can see, like when they're like those ABs, those guys are locked in pitch to pitch. So like anything could happen in these games. So definitely not surprised. But it's kind of been like punch after punch, and we've been able to respond pretty well, and they've been responding well. So hopefully we'll be able to come back with another punch for sure.
And I do have a follow up. You just mentioned that they were a contact hitting team. Does that play to your strength, you think, as opposed to a lineup that looks to hit 3 or 4 home runs a game and is willing to exchange 9, 10, 11 strikeouts for that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt. I think but like it goes back to saying like anything could happen in these games. But I think for me, I throw a lot of strikes, and I try to induce a lot of weak contact. So yeah, it definitely can play in my hand, but sometimes those weak contacts can find a hole. So I don't want to sit here and say it's going to play into my hand, and then they start dumping a bunch of stuff in on me tomorrow. So, but I think every offense in these games and these formats can pose a test, and but like I said earlier, I'm really looking forward to facing them for sure, and I think a challenge for sure, but one that I welcome.
Are you nervous?
No, not nervous. I'm really honestly excited. I think you know I trust my preparation. I trust the work that I put in, and I trust everybody around me, the Wells and the rest of our pitching staff and the guys who make decisions as far as pitch selections and usages and stuff like that. So not nervous. I think if you're nervous going into atmospheres like this, you can get eaten alive. So for me, I'm excited, and I'm going to be aggressive and on the attack for sure.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have time for one more. We'll finish up with Max Goodman.
Hey, what's up, Clarke? In those 5 starts in September, or I guess just the first 4 of those because of the weather in game 162, what was it that told you that you had recaptured that true Clarke Schmidt form after such a long layoff?
Obviously the stuff was really good. I think that's like an early sign, but I think really happy with the command and the locations, and getting to my areas really well, and being able to repeat my mechanics. I think sometimes when you take a long layoff like that, you might feel a little bit of your mechanics, but really it was really sharp, and even in the minor leagues I was really almost felt like a really good reset for myself, being able to go down there and get healthy again, and kind of just tweak some small mechanical things and be able to kind of clean up some things that I really wanted to. And you don't really get that downtime in typical years. So I try to utilize that time to the best of my abilities, and really happy with how we came out after the injury.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thanks a lot, Clarke. We appreciate you taking the time. We'll see you tomorrow in Kansas City.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.